Hello there friends, Steve Turgoose here. Yes, what a crazy world, what a crazy world. It really is like a roller coaster of realizations. For each one of us, we go through our lives, we kind of think the world is one way and then we realize it's not, and we see it another way and we think that's how it is, and then life changes again, our feelings to life changes, our priorities, the things we love, even our tastes in food go from sweet to sour. Our sense of humour changes, after you've heard the same joke 3 times, you realise you need to move on, and sometimes you feel like you're trapped in your old skin. And in this world, we're not alone in that kind of process of shedding skins like a snake, or, becoming someone new. The old self dies, the new self is reborn. Life is a flow, the opposite to death is birth. People say life and death. No, birth and death. Life is just life, eternally. We jump into different phases and out, and I've looked back at myself and how I used to see the world, and there's an essence of me, like the middle of the core of a tree is still a part of the rings, but the essence of the whole tree now, the whole me, is new, always growing, and that old me is dead to a certain degree, or parts of it, at least the outward expression, the persona, the one that you maybe used to know years ago. I've changed. I want to change. Things stop me from changing. To a certain degree I have changed, and people didn't notice because they see the world how I used to see it, and they see the old me. And then other people within that have changed since then and know, and have met the new me now. You're getting the point, I think you are, So our friends and our circle of people that we get on with, whether it be in a workplace or in a school or just in general life, that has a massive effect on who we are. And I find it can be a big stress. You know how much you can be of a stress and a worry to yourself, not let alone to other people, and then other people bringing you stress. And if you're like me, you've kind of learnt to control your behaviour, control your way of communicating, so that you don't bring trouble to you, and that you try and aid other people's out of their troubles rather than making it worse, just through the way you behave and that. But it takes energy, and like anybody else, I can just flip out and get angry and show my worst sides, and sometimes I feel like I'm doing that just to be a mirror. The other person won't listen to me, they're in this kind of crazy mood, just hacking on, as if they've got some kind of divine right to shout at life because it's not the way. And we all go through that. We can all relate to that feeling. Otherwise we couldn't relate to each other. But we all know that we suppress that feeling and say, okay, I'm not the only one who's fed up today. I'm not the only one who's got very good reason to feel damned, to feel an injustice towards. But we live in such a labyrinth, a mad and crazy world. And on the days where, you're angry, or the moments where you lose yourself, other people have to deal with that. And you're not aware, So it's the same when someone else is flipping out. They don't really maybe even know what an impact it's having. They think it's more of a performance, kind of. And for them it feels genuine, it feels authentic, because that's the world, that's the spiral, that's the TV show that we've created about society, this basic narrative. Big pressure on our shoulders, especially when we've got a collective consciousness, like everybody knows the popular knowledge, general knowledge of public knowledge. Everybody knows that kind of thing, which most of it is kind of flawed or wrong. But we kind of go along with that general knowledge. And then some of us who get specialised in different areas, be it like electricity or music or healing or all kinds of things, we find the edge of this general popular bubble of perception. We see how the general public are being told a stupid story. Why? when the reality is so much more powerful and so much more beautiful, you know. But we're hitting this brick wall of suspicion all the time, and we're having to guess everything and see the worst in everything, you know. And so when you try and break that bubble and push the world, you know, push the collective consciousness a little bit further, to push them the way that we think as a crowd, even to push myself in my crowd thinking, because I'm maybe thinking to myself, oh, I can't say that, it's far too personal. But there's a million people not saying the personal thing. And that means we're like keeping a secret, which shouldn't be a secret. It should be we all like reaching out to each other and saying, look, you know, I feel the same, I'm sorry, let's forgive each other. You know, we're just seeing each other as suspicious. Yeah, we're all devious, but it's in our nature. We love each other, you know, to try and find some kind of common ground. But no, we'd rather sneak round with our masks and our personas and try and make something of our lives, you know. Of course, there's those of us who kind of through one reason or another realise that life is more than just the things you own or the things you do with things, but it's more about the interactions with people, our relationships to the things, our relationships to each other, and how when we come together, you and I, something greater than those two parts exists, you know, is created. And I think there's a lot of creative people out there, and I think in a way us artists, you know, when I say artists I mean writers, artists, musicians, softwares, people, healers, anybody who's being creative with a realm of imagination, bringing that out into the world. We really need to then look at our own imaginations and build a pure and clear and powerful world that's based on perfection and stuff in our art, and express that in our art in different ways, use these mediums for exactly that. You know, we are the masters of these mediums. You know, this is our medium, light and sound. You know, we have the hands and the pens and paper and voices and musical instruments and words and expression, artistic expression. It's within us, you know, and however we choose to do that, we are free. And if I'm not, you know, here, like on this performance, it is a performance because I'm not talking to you personally, I'm talking to you all, you know? And I'm addressing you, maybe as an individual, as I'm addressing myself. But because it's a public medium, because the medium here is an art medium, it has a different impact. You know, if you write something in words to somebody personally, it has a different impact than if you just read it from a book somewhere. And this is what we need to see as artists, is this world's been set up for us as a big mirror, and we can step into that mirror and become personas. And when we step off that mirror, we can be back to an ordinary, normal life. We don't need to be one persona. We can get used to changing personas, as long as those personas are genuine to you, yourself, because it will come back and bite you. If you trick the world will trick you back. If you love the world will love you back. If you hate the world will hate you back. So it's your choice on how you want to love the world. And it's not easy. It's not easy. And really, we need a sense of humour. We need a sense of humour. As much as I'd like to stay with dignity, you know, to you as a person, individually, I will treat you with honour and dignity. Because I think it's man's right. But obviously in a video realm of celebrities and faces and charlatans and tricksters and magicians and politicians and priests and fools and you know, all of these people that appear on this medium that then goes out across millions and has more power than it merits, you know, this doesn't deserve the kind of honour that your neighbour would deserve. Do you see what I mean? No matter how miserable somebody can be, they still deserve more honour and dignity than a machine or a book or a thing, a car. You know, anything living deserves that dignity. You know. I don't know if it's undignified, but I would like to do a last little meditation before I close this video. Just meditation, a spiritual meditation. And most spiritual meditations are very kind of dignified. And I like to kind of break the boundaries of things a little bit, because the dignity isn't in the way, again, in the medium, it's in you and me as living beings. So this meditation that I created, it's to relieve stress. You know, when you've got people around you and they're just in a negative like vibration, and you just can't bring them up, and you're getting down and you're getting lower energy, and you can't make anybody happy anymore, and you're thinking to yourself, you know, I've lost my own life's purpose here. I don't even care about the world. Then you just take a little bit of a time out. You can go to the water closet, you know, to the toilet, and lock the door, and you go in. Just stand there and go. I don't know if it really comes across on this. You got a tut, and you got to like go. And let it all out. Spit out that bitterness towards humanity. It's a part of the trick. You know, people act like zombies when they wake up. Sometimes people act like zombies all the time. You know, we are all at times like zombies, you know. And the best way is to just look at it with a little bit of humour, you know. What we're talking about is quite serious, and it is pushing the boundaries of consciousness. But all the same, we as artists need to dwell in a realm, in our imaginations, one that has like love flowing in, like a river that gives life to the things. You know, too much we paint a picture of doom and gloom, and we're not going to be able to build a future based on that. We're not going to be able to pull people out of the darkness into the light if we're just shining torches on dirty corners. And do you see what I'm saying? We need to shine our light on the dirty corners and the dusty spaces and the dark, rusty fences and things, to see if everybody's safe, to bring the people out of the darkness. But for those to want to just come on free will, they have to be able to begin to see something of beauty, something worth fighting for. Now, I never like to come onto camera and make empty claims that just sound good for you. I go through the same pains myself. I put myself through the same pains because it's the way I do my art. I can't do it any other way. It's like if I want to live my life, I have to accept the life that's given to me and the pains and the emotions. But I also have to try and reach out to those who are reaching out and to share something, even if it's something abstract, with those people, to connect. You and I connect so that I can create something bigger, and maybe you can create something bigger out of our relationship. And I know for sure, for absolute sure, that there is a way for you alone and for us together to change this world. And it can already start with you and the way you see the world and the way you begin to create it new in your mind, and not try and run from the old one, but to try and look at this one as being maybe a test that you need to overcome and just disregard and continue with your own passions. You know, I might sound like I'm preaching, but yeah, I am preaching. I'm preaching you to yourself. You know, I'm not selling nothing here. I'm just saying that, you know, I've found enough within the system, within the language, within the law, within everything that I'm seeing, within the culture, within the mediums, within messages and texts left everywhere, that there is something that we're missing. There is something that's coming. I don't know how it's been set up, but I tell you what, folks, it is worth putting hope into. It is worth fighting for. It is worth looking around and being strong and saying, yeah, I have the right. I have my right. And I'm not going to use it or abuse it in a bad way. I'm going to use that right for what I hold to be love. What I think is love. Not what I read from a pop song or some philosophy book or a legal document, but what I think is love, what I think love is to is another. Like the world out there may be like a rebellious child that's gone wild and gone corrupt and steals and hates and is psychopathic. But the point where we realise that system, that world is like our child, and we set it before our door. We put it outside. We tried to close it off. We felt like we deserved better. We was just born into this world, and this world provides for us, and it will provide everything that we can dream up. Might sound a little bit fantasy, but we live in a world of fiction. Words, language is a technology and has some deeper meaning than we all understand, anyone here today. And we have to accept that mystery and not to try and build a completely new world in our minds based on a reflex anti-reaction to what we don't like about this system. Because what I don't like about this system is that we all feel like we have no power and the responsibility is somewhere higher. But no, you and I, as individuals and together, we are the highest living entities. Isn't it obvious? So just remember, when you're feeling a bit stressed, do the meditation. And just smile. See you later.